Okay, here is a rundown on the Volvo 240 neutral safety switch. This is responsible for making sure that you are in park or neutral for the car to start. And it also is the engagement point for when you are in reverse. If you pull one out, you can see at the top, there is a line for park and there is a line for neutral. And what you can do is that if your car has been moved around, things were placed on the linkage and the bushings. For instance, in my car right now, with the new shift cover plate on, I can tell that everything is about 5 millimeters forward of the indicators on the plate. And so when I put this back in, I will be making sure when I am at the park contact here, you can see the slider lines up with this little divot for park, that I am actually in park where I'm supposed to be, and then when I roll the shifter to neutral, that this lines up where neutral is. So just the basics of this part is I found that, quick searching for fuse box diagrams pulls something up, but for this guy, there's a little lack of discrete information. So what you need to know is that the two end plugs of these are both contact plugs to be closed. So these two wires, when the contact occurs inside of the switch, you will get continuity. These are the parking and neutral contacts. This one's the reverse light. When you're in park, these get closed. When you're in neutral, these get closed. So the way that this is put together, I've jammed my hand twice because I don't have the right tool, so maybe I'll lay it down here. You can get a pick or something. There are these little metal tabs, and you just need to pull them over, and then it slides off. And you can get them pretty far out. See it to about there. And then you just get all four a few millimeters wide, and then you can wiggle the cover off. This is built fairly well. Okay, so now that I pulled it off, this just comes right off. This little hole in the bottom is to hold the wiper. So when I pulled mine, this was in 1990, all of these brass contacts or copper contacts, they were very gunked up. I'd cleaned them up quite a bit. So what this wiper is doing, just so you know, you can get a pick in here and pull it out. This wiper has two contacts on it, as you can see. Might be a little out of focus, but you get the idea. There's a contact on the top and contact on the bottom. And as it sweeps, right, the top contact is going to be up here. So this is where you're getting continuity between the plugs for park and neutral. So they're going to contact here, and then they're going to contact when you go to neutral here. This little dot here is the contract for reverse, and then this is the other side of the contract for reverse. What has happened in mine, I don't know exactly why. There is a pretty big divot, and I know that probably it's not, we can't zoom in, but if you can see right here, this is actually a pretty, like maybe 1.5 millimeter divot in the metal. And so what's happening is that as I slide it forward, these floating pins here, they have a spring tension. And so that is not making great contact there. So as much as I clean this up, all the solder joints are amazing, and this is pretty well built. I think it's probably going to be better to get the cheap $20 MTC one, throw this in the trunk, and run that guy. Hopefully I can open that one up and take a look to see. But this divot, everything's working for neutral safety switch, but my reverse light is not coming on because this little divot here, unless I adjust the linkage on the shifter and maybe move it to the left, a little right. But for the sake of the fact that the car is running and I don't really need to see the index absolutely perfectly on the shifter knob, we'll just make sure that these are lined up correctly. But yeah, that little divot, if you get it all clean and you're still having issues with the reverse light, if you pick up a continuity tester and just sort of rock past this point, you'll eventually lose continuity. You can increase the spring tension a little bit by pulling these spring contacts out, but this has been worked over for 30 years, and it's probably going to go back to right where it was. So just a little bit of an understanding. This is where the contacts are. Remember, park, neutral, and then reverse here, and this is just all for mounting wide slides back here. So there's no contact when you get over into the drive 1, 2, 3 range. And this goes back just as simple here. You just put the little pin on, put the plate on. And then what I found works is just on the edge of a table. If you just push those down, then these just get pushed right back to where they're supposed to be. All that is a little cover plate. It has nothing to do with the electronics. It looked like mine had a gummy bear in there that was mashed around for 20 years. So much for a cover plate. And then you're totally back on there. So just a quick little run through. Also, this is what gets indexed. This latches into the shifter here, this little hoop. And so that's what tells you as you're going like, oh, I'm in park. Oh, I'm in neutral. So anyway, take a look if you have to do one. $20 like from MTC on Amazon or IPT or FCP. I don't know how long those are going to last. But also, this is a pretty fast and easy thing to remove. You just got to take over the cover, 2 screws, and then you just have to fish the lines out from the side of the carpet by the dash. But we'll see what the MTC one feels like when it shows up here. I definitely can feel this divot as I go to reverse. Like it wants to stop right in that guy. And so I'm wondering maybe a little bit of adjustment. Don't want to get underneath the car today. But, on the linkage that goes from the shifter down, those bushings get old. So everybody replaces those bushings. But on that linkage arm, there's actually a threaded section as well. So you can make a fine adjustment as to imagine if this is the shifter, right? So then that fine adjustment pulls in the shift lever this way or this way. So when you get it in there, you just got to index to park here. And so you're lined up on that line, and then your shifter shows that it's in park, and you would want that to be right in the middle there. Move it to neutral, and you would want it to be right in the middle there. And then you can sort of look at your cover to say like, hey, are we really in park? Or, those things are always a little bit off anyway. So anyway, that's about it. Take it easy.